Welcome to Bandit's Keep Actual Play. I'm Daniel. Today we are doing something a little different. I'm continuing my solo original Dungeons & Dragons campaign, The Song of the Mapper, where the Mapper has generally been treated like a board game, if you will, while the rest of the campaign is treated more like a D&D campaign. In this one, we're going to mix it up a little bit. We're going to get a little bit more narrative with the Mapper and see how that plays out at the table. So, join this experiment with me. So it is May 10th. And we're doing something a little different. This is still the Mapper. And if you've seen previous Mappers, effectively it is, or if you haven't, it's effectively how I use outdoor survival to find treasure locations for my main parties to investigate. When I run that, the Mappers themselves are fairly anonymous and they never really encounter anything. When they encounter something, they run. That's just the baseline of the Mapper. They run. If they can't make it, then that's how a Mapper gets wiped out. They can never fight. They don't encounter things. They don't talk to things usually. Every once in a while I'll get creative, but generally speaking, no. And that's often the question I get. Why don't the Mappers do things? Why don't they encounter things? Why don't they? And I thought, you know what? We'll try this a little different since we're kind of starting a new season, if you will. I thought, let's try something a bit different. So I rolled up a first level character, Sylvia. She's a fighter. And what we're going to do is we're going to make her a Mapper. Now I'm using Unchained, which is my version of OD&D mixed with Chainmail. And this is the latest version. If you don't have it, I've made some changes. For instance, that fighters at first level get 2 hit dice and fight as 2 figures. So that means she's going to be much more survival. I rolled really well with this character, like ridiculously well. I rolled a 17 strength, 12 intelligence, 18 wisdom. I almost was a cleric for that reason. 9 constitution, 15 dex, and a 9 charisma. The main reason why I did not choose cleric here instead of fighter, I mean, they're both close, right, is because of that dexterity. In OD&D, and thus in Unchained, clerics can't really use missile weapons, right? They can't use bows. So having that dexterity bonus and being by myself and having a bow, is going to make a big difference. So what I'm doing different here is I'm adding an element of narrative to it. And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to still use outdoor survival. We're going to, of course, use everything I've been using for the Mapper with a few changes. I'm going to incorporate the Mythic deck a bit. If a dungeon is encountered, like a small one, which I'll talk about in a second, I'll use the dungeon deck here. This, of course, is from Tales of Argosa, which is amazing. This is my deck of signs. It's like my favorite thing. And, various other things. But most importantly, this is Tattered Leaves. Now, it's for another game system called Fallen, which I did buy, but I haven't decided to play it yet, so we're going to use this. Effectively, it's D88 tables that are used during a journey. So you'll see as we play, each time we roll the D88, the character encounters something. Sometimes hostile, sometimes not, sometimes monster, sometimes something positive, etc., etc. What we're going to do is we're going to add this in. I'm going to run the Mapper like I normally do, which, moving around, and you'll see in a second. But then if there's no encounter by a monster via the D&D rules, then we're going to roll on the Tattered Leaves table to see what we find in that location. I may in the future use the OD&D rules where the houses are castles and the catch basins are towns. I think that's how that works. But I'm not going to do that this time. Right now I'm going to keep normal Mapper rules. Now the only other thing I'm going to change from the Mapper that I think is if you follow this, normally the Mapper has a die based on their level. And this die is kind of like their sanity die, if you will. Every day in the field, it goes down unless they refresh it at a house. I'm not going to use that for this. Instead, Tattered Leaves has various places where there's like these fear points that they can take and stuff. That's how I'll subtract this. If they take a fear point, it will go down. Say they'll recharge it the same way by staying in one of the houses, one of the secure houses. I may also do it if they have to run from something, but I don't think so because that might make you run way too fast. But we'll see. We're going to kind of play around. We're going to see how this goes. I'd love to get some feedback on this. And I'm going to start this kind of journey with this adventurer, Sylvia, and we'll see where it goes. Maybe she'll pick up other people with her. Maybe I'll turn this into just a regular thing. But right now it's kind of a hybrid of the Mapper. So let's see what happens. All right, so as I said, we're going to pretty much use the Mapper base game for most of this. So the way the Mapper works is I have these 7 tokens right here. I'm going to roll 7d6 to see where we're going to place them. These are possible map locations. Okay. So we've got they're broken up like this. So we have 1 in 1, which is over here. We've got 2 of them in 2. We've got 1 in 3. And then the remaining 3 are in 5, which is this one. So again, if you've not seen this before, I'm not sure how clear it is, but these are broken up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm just going to reach in here with my eyes closed and kind of spin these around and kind of space them out so that they're kind of, you can kind of feel the edge of it so it doesn't leave where it's supposed to be. Okay, so these are our maps. Now I'm going to roll for the mapper, and I'm going to actually use this token for the mapper, you know, just to kind of mix up a little bit. We're going to roll to see where they come in. Five. Oh, good. Okay. So this is area 5. They come in from the center. Now, the way this works is, again, I've had some people request that I walk through the rules every time I do this, so I will do it as much as possible here. What we're going to do, I'm just going to put it over there. Actually, I don't need the character sheet yet, so I'll put it over here until we need it. I'm trying to keep everything in camera so you guys can see. What we're going to do, since she's not going to come over here, I'm just going to put the dice there for you guys. That's probably easy enough. Okay. The character sheet can go up here. So she's going to leave from here. In order for her to survive, she's got to get off the map somewhere in this section. Okay? Now, the process that we're going to use, again, is the mapper process. I will actually use Mythic a bit more than we have in the past, so we'll see how that plays out, but for now, let's just start as the mapper, not to over confuse ourselves. So I'm going to roll a d6 to see what we can do. 6. Oh, that's like the best possible thing. So we use the search scenario here, and if we look at this, we roll a d6. On a 1 or a 2, we can go start in any direction we want, but we have to go in a straight line, and we have to use our full movement points. 3, 4, or 5, we can basically turn once, but we still have to use our full movement points. And 6, we can use as many of the movement points as we want. We could use even none if we wanted, and we can turn as many times as we want. So 6 is really good. So we want to get to, obviously, one of these maps. I think that this one is probably the closest, right here. I don't think I can get to it in one turn anyways, and we have to land on it. So this is one of those things where you got to be kind of thinking about it. Where is this one? Is that near the path? It's not actually on the path. Okay. So we have 6 points. We're down here. So 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're 1 hex away from it, which is kind of a bummer. And the thing is, when you get really close to something, it can be hard to line yourself up. So knowing that these are 2 each, if I was, let's say, here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I would land it next time. So if I can get to this hex, which is what I want to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I can. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I've set myself up that no matter what I roll next time, I'll get on that map. Now, we've moved, okay? So we do a check here. The first check is whether or not we find water. If we roll a 1 or a 2, we find water. We did not. Okay, so normally our water and our food index would go down. However, my character, being an actual character now, has rations. They have 7 days of rations, so I can choose to use a ration, which I will at this point, because there's no sense in not using it. So I'm going to mark down that I've used a ration. Also, I need to mark down the date. So we're leaving on 5/10. We've traveled 1 day. I got my rations down here. So again, at this point, I'm not using these as towns, so I can't refresh, but I may do that in the future. So I'm not going to be able to buy more supply. Okay, now we roll to see if we have an encounter. We're in the forest, so if we look at the OD&D rules, which are somewhere. So if we look at these rules here, okay, we can see that in the forest, we have an encounter on a 5 or a 6. 1, we do not have an encounter. So, like I said, if we don't have a normal D&D encounter in this more narrative game, we're now going to use this to see what happens. So, we're going to roll 2d8 because it's a d88 chart. 5 and 4. This, by the way, is by Chocolate and Conspite. I didn't get it on itch. If I remember, I'll put it in the... I'm terrible at remembering, but I'll try to put it in the thingy. Okay. 54. Right? 5-4. Cracked statue. A humanoid statue. Cracked. Hard to make out the details. Now it says do a lore skill check. Okay? So, since there's no such thing as a lore skill check in OD&D, what I'm going to do is roll against my intelligence. My intelligence is 12. So I'm going to roll 2d6, or 3d6 rather, and I'm going to try to get equal to or less than my intelligence. Which I did. I got a 10. My intelligence is 12. On a success, you find, and I'm going to roll a d8. 3. An artifact in the statue. Ooh, an artifact. Okay, that's really interesting. So, we're going to say that an artifact is going to be, I mean, again, this is from a different game system, so could be a OD&D artifact and get the Baba Yaga's hut or something, but I feel like that might be a little bit much on the first thing we find. So this is where I think we're going to use some of the other decks and stuff. So, number 1, we set this at 5. So here's the thing. This is my keeping track of my days and stuff. I'm going to use my little sticky notes here. Hopefully, I'll probably end up having to get a whole notepad for this. We'll see how this works out. So what we want to know, first of all, is something about this artifact. So we can use Mythic, of course, which is great because you can pull words and stuff, but this is where I love to use the deck from Tales of Argosa, because not only does the deck of signs have words on it, it also has images, which I find to be really, you couldn't probably see that because of the glare, images, which I find to be really useful. So I'm going to shuffle this up. And the way we do this is we pull 2 of these cards, and then we're going to try to work it out. What we got here. Scribe, marking, focus, understanding, escape, running, freedom, dangerous. Ooh, dangerous. Okay, so first we want to know something. Is this dangerous, or is it positive or negative, this artifact? No, actually, no. Let's do something. Let's start here first. Is it mundane or magical? So here I'm going to use the Mythic deck. I'm just going to go 50-50 because I don't really have any reason to think one way or the other. So is this magical? No. Okay, it's not. So it's a mundane artifact. So looking at these words, scribe, marking, focus, understanding, freedom, dangerous, escape, running, it makes me think that there's something here. Somebody's marked the statue, right? Because they understand, or with giving information, right, to help something escape. The fact that this is dangerous makes me think that it is some kind of a monster or something bad. So perhaps this statue is, so let's say, was this left by somebody for something to happen now or in the future, or was this an old thing, this artifact? So is this a sign for some cultist or something now? No, exceptional. Okay, so this is definitely super, super old. So probably something happened here. This artifact might have some value. So we're going to actually pick it up. Let's see what kind of artifact is it. What is it? What is this artifact? I'm going to just pull 1 card and we'll look at the image. Oh, it's a map. It's a map. The artifact is an incredibly ancient map to some kind of dangerous creature's lair where it is trapped. Okay, so artifact. So it's a map. So dangerous, I'm just going to say, since we're sitting here figuring this out, let's take a quick look at Underworld and Wilderness Survival. Adventures, rather. I always call it survival. And let's look in the dungeons. And let's look at the highest level of the dungeons, which is level 6. And let's roll on this chart to see what this thing is a map to. 8. Lords. Okay, and it's dangerous, so probably some kind of chaotic lord. Map to dangerous lair. Chaotic lord. Old. Okay, that means the chaotic lord is probably no longer there, or potentially the chaotic lord is, you know, a lich or something, right? Okay, that's the end of day 1. Nice. Next day. Let's roll to see 6. Wow, I'm rolling really lucky. Oh, this is where I'm tempted. Now, it's too early to refresh myself. I was going to maybe go on the water and stuff and refresh myself, but I think I'm just going to do my original plan. We want to get maps. So I'm going to move there. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can stop right on top of the map. Do I find water? I do not. Okay. Ooh, all right, I'm going to use another ration. And we're going to roll now to see if there's an encounter. Again, on a 5 or a 6 is an encounter in the woods. There's no encounter. So again, we're going to roll on this. So let's pack this up. All right, so far so good. Mapper's doing okay. Now, I'm going to make an adjustment to the mythic table here before we do anything else. I'm going to say that going into that area, I'll probably get more depth into this and playing it out more narratively as we go. But for now, that was what we're going to do for that one scene. Since the scene went into our favor, we increased this by 1. Okay, so now we're here, and we're going to roll a d88. 6, 7. Oh, by the way, I need to leave this here for our fear factor. Okay, 67. Rambling Prophet shares rumors. Roll on where and what to see what they have to share. Huh. Okay. I think we can use... Let's use the mythic deck for this one. So again, you pull 2 cards, then you butt them against each other. So these are our words, action and subject. So we're going to do 2 because 1 is where. Work hard, information. Okay, so where do you work hard to find information? Some kind of a library or something, right? So that makes sense. So some kind of a library. So that's the what, or the where rather. And then what is the thing that they're sharing a rumor about? Increase a path. Okay, so they're sharing a rumor about some kind of a library or a conclave that is sharing a path. So a path would, again, probably be some kind of a map or, let's see. Is this path like a physical thing versus a metaphysical thing? Now, we are at 6, so we're going to add 1 to our thing. I'm going to go 50-50 on this because I don't really know. So we're going to pull 2 cards, and if either one is yes, then it's yes. So is it a metaphysical thing? No? No. Okay, so it's a physical thing. So that's a path to some place. They're trying to find a location. Could be some kind of a map. Is it... Okay, so I'm going to say it's a map. Another map. Wow, 2 maps. Is this location somewhere in here, in the wilderness, like in some kind of a tower or something? Or is it, back at home base? So is it in the wilderness? Again, I'm going to pull 2 cards. If either one is yes, okay, so yes, it is. All right, so let's figure out where it is. I'm going to roll a d6 to see what section. Section 1. And since there's already a map there, I think we're just going to call that the tower. So that is, well, no, because the tower would be somewhere. Is there a... We need a location. I think these are about 12 across. So I'm going to go across, 11, down, 1. Okay. J. All right. J's a wizard tower. Researching map to what? So let's pull 2 of these. Actually, let's get rid of this. Again, this is where I feel like the images help here. So we're going to pull from this deck. And I'm just going to use the images. Map to, okay, so some kind of a man and a ship. Okay, so it's a map to, you know, I'm going to say respect, rival, wind, howling, fleeting. You know what, we're going to say it's, since it's not metaphysical, it's somewhere in the world, map to, we're going to say an island with treasure. Okay, that may or may not, you know, be anything we use. This is going to be a thread. So the way that Mythic works is when you find something like this, actually both of these will be, you assign it a thread number. So we're going to call the first one 5 and the second one 6. And you'll see as we have events and stuff, that will make a difference. So for now, we have 2 threads. We find this information, and not only that, we have a map. Boop. Okay. That is good. So we have 1 map. We're doing pretty good for our second day. And that is the end of that day. We have an evening meal with the prophet. And yeah, kind of move on. If you've been enjoying these actual plays, please do take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it, do all the good YouTube stuff. I'll talk to you soon.